We're going to go ahead and call the October meeting of the North Highlands Recreation and Park District to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the September 8th minutes. Were there any corrections or changes to those minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions?
Abstain.
Chairperson's report. So for those of you who have forgotten, I just actually arrived back in Sacramento about 40 minutes ago from the conference down in San Diego, the CSDA conference. My head is still spinning of everything I learned, and you're going to be lucky you're not on the board next year because I have a lot of ideas and stuff that we should probably be doing to make it easier for us and easier for staff, more guidance. So after I go through everything I've got, I'm going to go through our policies and maybe recommend changing our policies or more like adding to our policies. So that would be coming down the road. Comments from board members?
Don't have any.
Nope. Okay. Reports from standing committees? I don't believe we have anything. Administrator's report. Larry, is there anything you want to highlight or add to your report?
No, I'll let the report stand.
Okay. Any questions for Larry? Moving right down. Park maintenance report. Anything you want to highlight?
Unless there's any questions,
add?
no.
Oh. Questions? Okay. There's not a park report then? So, nothing from Mark.
You don't have,
No, I'm saying on the agenda.
that's right here.
It's number 1.
It's number 6A, yeah.
Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Gosh.
Still in San Diego.
I'm losing it. Mark, go ahead. I thought that was Larry. I'm just going down.
It was a long trip.
We actually was.
A quick flight. So we actually have a presentation. We want to review or let you guys in on how our summer went, talk about attendance numbers, just kind of review everything we did this past summer and then what we're planning on doing next summer. Marvin's going to actually start the presentation.
Sure. So if I can have your guys' attention to the projector, or the brand new projector.
Yeah, this is our brand new projector that we just got that pretty deal.
Side by side.
It's the best we can do. I'll get prettier in a second. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Marvin. I'm the rec supervisor for the district. So we wanted to go over some of the summer programming that just happened, just wrapped up. The first thing I'm going to go over is summer camp. It started June 13th and went to August 5th. It was led by the staff member here, right, Amber Scoville, who was a rec leader, kind of had her hands in all the different programs, did a lot of special event stuff, and she finally did summer camp, which was a great experience for staff and her alike. Some highlights: we generated over $19,000 in revenue. We had an average of 23 campers a day. We had 8 successful field trips, and of course we had a lot of great memories with the staff and with the kids. This highlights everything in terms of field trips that we did. It ranged from going to Scandia to going to Wake Island Water Park for the first time and going to the Folsom Zoo. Went to the movies a couple of times. So we feel like we had a strong lineup of field trips, and we felt like that contributed to the good numbers that we did have. In addition to the field trips, we programmed Marie's Donuts, walking to Marie's Donuts every Tuesday. We did lunch at Freedom Park every Friday, where we provided lunch for them. We turned Splash Pad on for the first time in a little while, which Mark will go over in a little bit. And we designated some of the Wednesdays to just go to the Splash Pad when we were dealing with 100-degree temperatures. And this is a comparison to what our numbers and our average participation for this year and for last year. And if you notice, there's a little bit of a drop off in both categories. There's a couple of reasons of why we believe that was. For one, the summer camp season, it was longer last year by a full week. So of course that means, average revenue is going to drop because, it went with less week of program. We also learned that Center's summer break was 2 weeks earlier than previous years. So with a good percentage of our campers coming from that district, and with our calendar being in conjunction with Twin Rivers, we think that for those 2 weeks, the center students had to find, center parents had to find different summer camps, and when the 2 weeks was over, they probably didn't want to pull their kids from it because they were comfortable about that. So that was just a recap of Summer Kids Camp. The other program we did was Recreation in the Park. It was a free program to the community, and with it being a free program, evaluating it can get a little tricky because there's no revenue generated from that program. Also, with last year being the first year we were running it, we learned from our mistakes and we wanted to implement new things going forward. So we had a couple of changes to the program. Last year, it was held at Freedom Parks and Ridgepoint Park. We didn't have such strong numbers at Freedom Park, so we decided to only have it at Ridgepoint. We showed strong numbers throughout the year. We wanted to shorten the week. We shortened the program by a week. We changed the times. It used to be, I believe it was 10 to 1, and with the 12 to 1 hour, especially last summer, if you guys remember, we were flirting with 110-degree temperatures in the house when it started to really get hot. So we noticed a drop off in attendance for that last hour. So we decided to push up the program to 9 to 12. And we actually had our site supervisor for Raccoon Club. He was around for the summer, so we had him lead the program. His familiarity with the area and with the Ridgepoint kids, we felt that was a positive. This is what last year's attendance was, so just to kind of give you a background of why we decided to not do the program at Freedom. As you can tell, Ridgepoint peaked at 30 kids, and it stayed more or less above 10, and probably an average of about 15. For Freedom, it dropped down to a point where we only had 3 kids in the program. So we just made that decision to eliminate that spot. And if we're looking at last year's attendance versus this year's attendance, obviously we didn't have as many participants as last year, given the program was a bit shorter. I did notice kind of a similar attendance trend to where it would kind of peak, drop off, and that's kind of with the variance of you don't know what kids are doing in the summer, you don't know when they go on vacation. We also learned that a good portion of the kids that attended last year actually had summer school, so that kind of coincided with the drop-off in attendance.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Highlands Dolphin swim team. This is a spring program / summer program, but since it falls in the summer, we'll go over it. Okay, so this is the registrations that we had for this year. We had 108 swimmers registered for the team. In 2015, we had 99 swimmers. So we saw an increase of 9 total swimmers. Where we're seeing the increase is we're seeing it in the 9, 10s, 11s, and 12s, and the 13s and ups. This is where we saw a majority of our increase this season. And the 6 and unders really had 11 swimmers, so we're going to go over that later on how we're looking to improve that. So meets this year, we had three away meets. We went all the way to Amador. We had Sacktown, Rio Linda. We had home meets against Carmichael and Rio Vista. The swim meet to Amador and all the far swim meets, our attendance dropped. And once again, we'll also go over that, how we're looking to increase that number to really give us a chance to compete when we go out far on those swim meets.
Yeah, I've been to that pool in Amador. It's a drive out there.
It is a vast area.
It's the one right on Highway 49, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not close.
Yeah.
Okay, so for next season, obviously we have the new Colorado timing system, which we talked about, which is going to improve our 3 home meets that we do have. We'll have a brand new coaching staff. We talked about that at the last meeting with Travis. And the Junior Dolphin Feeder Program is one thing we are excited about that we're going to be looking to implement next swim season. So we saw that we had so little numbers at the unders, and probably because we don't have a pool. It's we don't have any swim lessons, so we're not bringing those young kids in and putting them on there. We're looking into renting other pools, hosting swim lessons this upcoming summer, and creating a feeder program so we can actually increase the swim team. Hopefully we can compound that program and keep the team alive, stronger, make it even better. We'll have 3 home meets this year, which will help our overall numbers when it comes to attending meets. So the home meets itself, we probably had 20 extra swimmers as opposed to the away meets. So we have a much better chance of competing at home. And last, we're looking at getting transportation to Rio Vista. Rio Vista is similar to Amador, is not around the corner. We're going to be looking into maybe getting like transportation like a bus, helping families get out there. Gives us a better chance of really competing.
Do we know why families aren't going to the aways? Is it just too far?
It is too far, travel, distance, cars, mileage, gas. There's a lot of different factors. Whereas at home, we have basically every there unless somebody's out sick.
Well, and that Amador meet was the first meet, and it also conflicted with a lot of sports. So all the kids that do soccer and baseball, like one of my kids didn't compete because of.
Yeah, we put a lot of thought into how we can really improve it, and these are kind of our top 5 best ways of improving the team this year, and hopefully see a big difference. So the next, Freedom Park picnic rentals.
Mark, before you go
Yeah.
there, why don't you explain just a little bit more detail, I think we kind of glossed over it, about the swim lessons that we're bringing back.
Okay, yeah, I can go with that. I don't know if we're going to go into that later.
Well, we teased them with this, so we probably should give them a little more.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're looking at, we've looked at doing some lessons over at Highlands, or I have for the last month and a half, and how we're going to really do it. We looked into swim platforms. We looked into all sorts of things. Swim platforms we can't have at Highlands High School. Just talking to all these construction companies, the instability is a big issue and liability problem. So I've reached out to Twin Rivers, talked to their schools. Foothill High School is where we're looking to host swim lessons and have our feeder program. Level 2, level 1 classes, level 3 classes, we're going to put out there. We're going to be reserving that pool, actually putting on swim lessons and giving back to the public. One of our assistant coaches will be the swim manager over there, so the kids are going to get really good swim instruction. And plus, it also gives them a familiar face with that swim lesson that they can go to the swim team. We're looking at somehow implementing the fee that they pay for the swim lessons, so that way that fee can be then moved over to the swim team if they're qualified to do it. So, for example, if let's say we pay $40 for swim lessons, and the kid is qualified and wants to go to the swim team, maybe we'll move that $40 to help cover their $140 for the swim team. You know, at that time they're qualified. Now our swim team numbers are going up. We have a lot more families that are looking to join the team. So
One more thing with that. When we looked at the low numbers, and when Mark presented the numbers, we saw that and that's not necessarily uncommon, but if kids don't learn how to swim, they're not likely eventually going to end up on a swim team.
right.
So our initial effort was how can we create a learn to swim feeder program into the swim team. But when Mark came back and said, hey, look, we can get a pretty good deal at the pool at Foothill, which is the same price we get in Highlands, it just made sense to pursue it a little bit more. So beyond just providing swim lessons to provide a feeder program for the swim team, is also giving parents an opportunity to, if they're not even interested in swimming, just take swim lessons so the kids can become water safe. And the other thing that we're doing is, this is going to start about a month and a half earlier than we normally would have done swim lessons at our old pool.
Right.
And the reasoning is that it coincides with swim team, but also those parents who had to find swim lessons last year outside of our district, now we're going to get them early on and let them know that there are swim lessons here, because once they start someplace else, it's just like, it's going to be very hard to bring them back. So by reaching out ahead of time and letting them know we're doing this, we're hoping that they'll want to do this. And we also, one of the things I was concerned about, but it apparently is not an issue, it's about 8 minutes from here to get to the Foothill pool. So if they're already going out of the district to get swim lessons, they're probably traveling further than that. So by starting early, we hope that it'll coincide and get the kids ready for the swim team, but also kind of bring those families back that were looking for swim lessons.
Yeah, and Foothill has a real advantage of having that 3.5 foot shuttle end, which is perfect for teaching swim lessons. So it's I think it's gonna be a big benefit to the team, and hopefully see a big boost in those lower ages, and we can get more kids coming in. So that's gonna. I think a lot of our kids now in little ages, they have older siblings on the team.
Right.
So that's how we're getting those kids. So eventually, if we don't have swim lessons, we're gonna lose probably the whole team.
So one of the things that people were discussing at the conference, especially those with big aquatic programs, was minimum wage going up. Supposedly, through a third party, Sunrise expenses are going to jump $500,000 because of that.
Wow.
And they're trying to figure out how they're going to charge people to go to like the Antelope Aquatic Center. They're going to have to charge like $10 or whatever to cover the cost. So I mean, I don't know if that's something we need to start thinking of,
So
or
we already have.
okay.
Yeah, we know that over the next 5 years, everything's going, I think it's $1 a year that
Right.
it's going to go up. So we factor that into
Okay.
this year's budget, and we'll factor that into each other future budgets. I think the difference is you're looking at a much larger district.
Oh no, and I understand.
And the reality of it is we have to pass on that cost as we would any new cost to the user. But again, I don't know what kind of numbers and how they calculate it over at the other districts. But if you have to, if your swim lesson is less than an hour and you're paying out $1 more, just call it $1.50 when you figure in other fringe benefits, and you spread that over 5 kids, it doesn't seem like it's that significant.
Right.
But by the 4th and 5th year, it starts to add up.
Right.
So we're in the same boat as everybody else, including people who work at 7-Eleven and
No,
Walmart. That's just it's a law we have to live with.
Yeah, some people think that government's going to get an exemption of that.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard anything. In fact, anything, I think they're going to make sure government does pay it
Right.
to make sure that we're setting the tone. We're no different than the
Right.
private sector.
Right.
Right.
Well, I know, for example, Antelope Pool, since my kids both work there, I mean, on open swim, they had between 12 and 15 lifeguards on shift. So that gives you an idea.
Well, they have 125 lifeguards on staff.
Right.
So
Between Rush and Antelope.
we'd be looking at probably having 8.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
I figured, okay.
Yeah. So it's certain things to look into. We have to look into all of our future programming. But
I realize it's going to affect other programs, not just aquatics. So.
But aquatics just to point it out, is probably the one program that we do that we're not going to cut back on costs for staffing. I mean, that's not where you want to cut corners with something that's I don't call it a highly dangerous sport, but it's one that has a huge risk to it.
Right.
So if anything, I'm always pushing Mark to make sure that, when he's calculating things, that we have sufficient lifeguards, because the reality of it is whether you have 5 people in the pool or you have 50 people in the pool, minimally it takes 2 lifeguards to perform a rescue, and 3 would be ideal. But in our case, we get the 3rd because we've got the coaches there, and the 3rd is the one usually making the phone call.
Right.
So we figured they got that covered, but I was never comfortable with having a single lifeguard in the pool. It's just too, if something goes wrong, you're going to write a bigger check later on.
Right.
Yep.
Sorry.
No need to apologize. Okay, Freedom Park. Good. All right, so I know this is really hard to see. These are the numbers for the last 3 years for rentals for Freedom Park. Since we put in the active net online registration, nothing has benefited more than Freedom Park. I went back and ran the numbers, and 81% of the people who rented from Freedom Park this last year, they rented it online. So that means that's a huge number. This year itself, up to this point, we've rented 183. We've done 183 rentals. And we still have the capability of probably doing one more. Assuming people won't rent it more this weekend with the rain. The previous year, 2015, we rented 159. 2014, 149. So we've seen the gigantic leap for Freedom Park. And I think by having the online registration, we're able to reach so many more people than we ever were before, especially for Freedom Park. So Freedom Park itself is really paying for ActiveNet going forward. A couple trends we did see, if we go to the next slide, which is the months. We did really well this year in April, where we really kicked it off in March, and I think it's also because we were able to reach more people going forward. It's an acting that was new. We about the same here going forward, and then later months this number's a little higher. We've done great at the end. The one number that is the most surprising here is probably in July. July, you would think, would probably be our most popular month.
Too damn hot.
It's apparently too hot. You can't even factor in the splash pad. If you go to the next slide, the splash pad we opened up here on June 21st, so people knew about it, so we thought we'd get more rentals. The one right by the splash pad itself, the Dickinson, that received the second most of any. You would have thought that would have tons, but people just didn't care. And there's no reason for why July is so low, but it turns out it's not our most popular month. So we've seen that trend. We're hoping to improve it next year going forward, but looking at Freedom Park, it's probably where we benefit the most from the online registration.
Did it make it cooler next July?
That's my goal. That's my goal, to make it cooler. Yeah.
Speaking of Freedom Park, just when I was walking through all the vendors and one of the booths, and I wish I remember who it was, they had like a little slideshow. They had a picture of our Freedom Park there.
Really?
Yeah. All of a sudden it's like, holy cow.
Miracle? Was it a miracle?
I don't know who it was. I don't remember now.
I just wanted
There's so
Miracle.
many you're talking
You're like,
about
yeah, that's us.
people, but it's like, whoa, yeah, that's our park.
It's me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right.
Cool. All right, and going towards next summer, we just wanted to preview a couple things that we do have going on. We noticed in me and Mark meeting and talking about how we can improve some program, we noticed there's a lack of sports. So two things we're going to be implementing are youth volleyball league. If you're familiar with how youth basketball runs, it's going to be run in a very, very similar way to where kids sign up, they're put on a team with a volunteer coach. They're allotted one 45-minute practice with their team, and they're guaranteed 6 games, and all participants get a program t-shirt. Same thing going forward with flag football during the summer. You're guaranteed 6 games. You're allotted an hour-long practice with your team, and participants get a program shirt as well. So there's a couple of things that we're looking forward to launching for next summer. With kids being out of school, looking for something to do, we think that we can get a good amount of attendance for these programs as well.
2 questions on the volleyball. Is that co-ed for the kids or?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, and where does that occur?
It'd be at Richmond.
It's okay.
It'd be at Richmond. They practice there, and they also play their games there.
And all of our gyms are actually capable of hosting volleyball. We do it now for the Twin Rivers Volleyball League,
Okay.
so we know that they're all
I
capable.
didn't know if it was Cape Hart or it's just, yeah, that's what it was.
I think Richmond for us is the easiest. So.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And of course, at the end of this month is Halloween. I just wanted to preview as well our North Hauntlands Halloween events, and we hope all of you guys can be there. It's happening the 28th from 6 to 7:30. We're actually making the recreation center into a glow-in-the-dark room. So we'll be having a lot of glow-in-the-dark activities here. We have Lucas coming out, carnival games, Halloween-themed arts and crafts activities, candy involvement from local businesses, a costume showcase. So we want to shy away from, making it a contest, just because that's not what Halloween's about. It's about showcasing, what you have on and not making it a competition. We have some performances from Studio T. They have agreed to do a 15-minute performance right at the start at 6:15. They're also going to table at the event and give out candy. It's a great way to showcase their program and talents. It's a great addition to our event because I don't think they've performed in anything that we had before. And I know they recently had a kid win So You Think You Can Dance. So at least an alumni from that program did. So it's a good way for them to advertise their program as well. We also have Voice of the Wood. They're a local educational storytelling group. They blend storytelling, dramatic narration, and mass movement. So they're really, really dramatic storytellers. I was introduced to them through the city of Davis. They do a lot of their stuff, and I'm a UC Davis alum, so naturally, I reached out to them and they just worked. And they're going to be doing a 45-minute performance where they're going over 2 different Halloween themed stories. So this is a little bit of a change of how we've done our Halloween event. It's becoming a little bit more of it's like a show, and it's something that we haven't done before. At least since I've been here. But I think that we're going to get a lot of good attendance, and this is going to be a good event. All right, I think that's it for us.
Do you guys have any questions?
The only question I had, so the summer program, we go to Marie's, does Marie get, don't laugh, I'm not asking for free. Does Marie give us any kind of deal? Because she used to do that kind of stuff for us?
So when we go down to Marie's, the kids will have like their own money for it. But the last week, they donate so many donuts to us throughout the year.
Okay.
So Harvest Time just had, they had Harvest Time at the park, the Harvest Time program. Marie's Donuts donated, it was 3 dozen donuts.
Right, okay, that's right. I mean, I know
There's
they
a lot of
used to-
kickback.
Yeah, no, they used to.
Yeah.
So, okay, that was it.
I want to talk to Mark because we weighed the kids before we started the
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
They all gained
We're
weight.
gonna get a bill.
They're walking it off.
Any questions? The only thing I have, well, the picture of the flu shot clinic,
Yeah.
that person looks way too happy getting a flu shot.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah, so,
We didn't see any of you guys down here for the flu
I
shot.
already got mine at the doctor.
I got mine
It
at
was
the
free.
place or two.
Mine was free too.
Yeah, mine
I
was
had a
free.
doctor's appointment, so I was about to shoot the shot.
Larry was telling everyone was crying during, so I had to try
I
to
wasn't
take
gonna
off.
ask that.
He wasn't crying, there just was an overflow of tears coming down.
All right. Thank you both.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, correspondence, we have none. Comments, reports from citizens, organizations. We have one individual who would like to speak. It's an old friend of the district, Roxanne. Come on up.
Good evening, I'm Roxanne John, the Executive Director of the Aerospace Museum of California. And for those of you who've been around, we're coming on to our 10th year. I don't know when that happened, but what I wanted to come talk tonight, first of all, is in those 10 years that we have been at the site, I think we can all agree that the last year, 6 months, year, we've had a huge increase in residents at the park at night, and even during the day, I'll put it that way. There have been a lot of cars parked on Freedom Park Drive. So at this point, I kind of got some folks together. Appreciate the support from Larry and Scott. Scott came to we had a kickoff meeting to see what everybody's things were, what the challenges were, so that we could work together to solve this problem. I have to say that our air park has never been broken into, and we've been broken into twice in the last 6 months, cutting. And then we discovered there's a little hole where we had a fountain in the back that had an outlet, and they lifted it up and they're using the power. Clever. But it just isn't a good, safe environment for the folks who come to our facilities, and I say ours, all of our facilities. There have been a lot of challenges with people who've been parked on the street, and if you see that camper, it's on the sheriff's department list. I've heard it called that one. But and we know there's a huge problem with homeless and folks who just can't find a way. But we also have our challenges of running a safe environment and the trash and just the whole, the challenges we have. We have hired a security patrol for the evening, for the overnight hours, and they come by several times a night. Initially, they were getting people. Matter of fact, they walk our perimeter, and there was, I think, a couple of nights of campers right on the other side of our fence, and escorted them off. But our challenge is too that with this, then though, if we say you can't be on the private property, they park on the street. So I think we've all agreed between the businesses and groups between 32nd and 34th initially that the county will be putting up no overnight parking signs. And I just emailed them today, and they should be up in about a couple of weeks. And it's something so that way, if they're out there, it gives the sheriffs and highway patrol an easier way to say, no, you can't be here overnight. So that's something that we're working on. It's going to be a little more challenging on this front half of Freedom Park Drive because there are the apartments and that people park there naturally. So that's another thing that we want to work on. But I just wanted to kind of just come and say, we've all seen it, we've decided it's time to get together and, you know, work together as a team on it, and I appreciate that. And as far as I know, you have some evening events, especially the summertime, you know, and we have the parking lots together, so, you know, we rarely have something at night with a lot of people, so rather than keep people parking on the street, you know, they can come over and park. What we can tell our security is if you, you know, you just give us a quick email and say, oh, the park district's having a late event, and so it's okay for the folks to be there. And I know we do have our barbecue, and that's obviously it's going to be something where we have something for that night. By the way, it's September 30th, so the people who want to come to the park and watch fireworks for free next year, there you go. So I just wanted to just come drop by, say, you know, every time you say hi. But also to say that this is what we're doing. I appreciate what you folks are doing and jumped right in as well. I talked to the folks across the street who run the stucco and also the church, and they're like, oh yes, we all want to be a part of what we're doing. We may not have a lot of meetings, but I think the emails and communications are something that are really important. And if there's something specific, I think we kind of do email back and forth anyway to make sure that there's an awareness.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
If I could add some comments before Roxanne leaves. Roxanne and I have created a number of emails back and forth, and I know she's spoken to Scott as well. So I'm going to tell you where we're going with it, and then I'll circle back around. The December 8th meeting of the board, we will be presenting to you a proposed security plan for Freedom Park. And it's unfortunate that we've come down to this point, but it's just getting to the point where, and I'll just use an example, where Roxanne can remove people from her site, well, the logical place we're going to go into is to the park. We know that with this coming storm tonight, tomorrow, we're going to fall back into that mode of this homeless will start blocking our electronic automatic doors in our restroom. They'll block them, which they figured that out rather quickly, and they'll go inside and they'll camp out in there. They'll start creating tent cities on our playgrounds and then underneath the shade structures. We can keep on going in there and chasing them out, which we do, but lacking something more significant than that, this is not likely to change on its own. So there's a couple different perspectives that we're going to be coming to, and again, we don't have the plan in place, but we have already begun working on the plan. One, we're working with Paladin. I am putting together a proposal for them of what I would like to see, and they're going to obviously tell us what that's going to cost. And it won't be cheap, but at this point, Freedom Park is our signature park, and we've got to start addressing the fact is that we will start losing attendance. We'll start seeing more problems, more vandalism, and as much as when Mark said earlier about the revenue increase in there, that's going to turn around and start going south if we don't do something. And what we're going to be looking at is basically security 7 days a week, where we will have the security come in during the middle of the night, getting out of the cars, walking out there, getting the people who started camped out, get them out of the park, coming through during the daytime, come into the park. If they see something, again, it's not against the law to be homeless, and not against the law to be homeless and being in a public park. But one of the areas that Scott and I realized that the district's real deficient in, we don't have the right ordinance as stated in the park that give sheriff's department the ability to cite. And so we sat down the other day and went through all the different ordinances, and Scott's looking through those now. We're going to change our park signs, and we're going to put the new ordinances. Again, all this will come to the board before we do anything. But the idea is we got to give the patrol, the security patrol, and the sheriff some teeth. They can move people out, but now with the right ordinances, they can cite people, which means if you return again, then you might spend the night in jail. We understand that we're not solving the homeless problem. We understand that it's really moving them off the Aerospace Museum property, off our property, and they're going to go someplace else because that's what they do. We're also going to incorporate, just so you know, our building here, because every morning when Terry and I come in the morning, we've got people sleeping in the doorways. And while they're very good about getting up and leaving, once it starts raining, they're going to be in every little cove that we have in this building. You know, that's not good for them and it's not good for us. And so, again, the way we would want to structure this patrol agreement is that they would also come by here. And the best, I've been reading a lot about homeless, and I worked with a lot of this when I was in the city of Napa. The best thing is to do is you get them when they're settled in and make it uncomfortable for them. And if you do it enough times, then they'll want to go someplace else. And we understand we're pushing them someplace else. We're not solving the problem. But we have an obligation to the residents and the businesses that surround our park to do everything we possibly can within our limited resources to make the park safe. And so we've seen an uptick, as Roxanne described, and more homeless gravitating to the park. We've had it several times. We've had patrols come in this summer just because it was just too much. Sitting behind the restrooms, drinking out of a paper bag. You know, parents aren't going to bring their kids, whether we turn on the water splash facility or not, like a splash pad or not. If they don't think that there's a comfortable place to bring their families, they're not going to come there. So we're going to come back with a comprehensive report to you for you to look at, and we'll bring a budget along with it. And I'm sure we'll spend quite a bit of time talking about it. We'll invite Roxanne and some of the other local businesses to attend and weigh in on it. But we need to take a big step, not a little step. We need to take a big step because we don't want the homeless to think that that's their area, that they're safe there. Safe in the sense of that it's okay to do whatever they want to do there. And so, you know, I didn't mean to take this long to share with you, but we are understanding the situation, and we'll be working with Roxanne and others, and we'll bring a plan back to you in December, and hopefully it'll be something that'll really work.
And I think Larry, you're right. We all recognize that there are challenges with the folks who are here, and it is a sad situation, but we also have to recognize that we have to maintain a safe environment for the folks who come to the park and to the museum. And a lot of it, they do both. So just so you know too, the security company we hired is Paladin as well. So I think that's going to be a nice grouping like that, because they'll have a bigger area and be able to do both of ours.
And hopefully there'll be some sort of cost savings if we're using the same company, and we say instead of the museum having to pay whatever they're paying, we just say, look, when you're there, you can do both. And
maybe there's something where we can have more frequency, but because they do ours several times, but more frequency, and then it's a certain amount. But I think that would be helpful as well. And you know, you're going to have your peaks and valleys, but you just really have to, you know, it's something we have to jump on, unfortunately. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving on. Unfinished business, we have none. Item 10, business A, resolution 550, authorizing transfer funds from general reserve. So, just in reading this, I just kind of had a question. So, we're doing this for equipment, or?
Not equipment, this is for
Okay.
project
Improvements. So, do we have to increase the budget for that amount, or is that already been?
It's already in the budget.
It's already in the budget.
We have to transfer from one account to another, so we have to start spending.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just want to make sure that, because if we don't have that already authorized in the budget, I wasn't sure because I got this and I left, so I didn't get to pull my budget out.
Can I also add something, and I'm sorry to jump in there, that
Sure.
I really want to point out that if you haven't had a chance to go see it, and I know it's nothing sexy and splashy, but you know, Scott did a great job with the Cape Park parking lot project. You know, by all accounts, and we always go to Sergio, our park supervisor, who's been here for 30-something years, who seems to be the historian of when things were done and what they look like. I don't believe that the park had probably been resurfaced or restriped in over 20 years. And we got a really good deal on it. And you go over there, it looks like a brand new parking lot. They just didn't splash the sealant over and repaint it. They really made a lot of repairs over there. And it looks really good. And I want to give a lot of credit to Scott because he spearheaded that. And we've got a lot of compliments about it. And that came from this project, from these projects that we funded. And so these are the type of things that we want to do this year. And we hope that based on some pricing that we're getting, that we're going to have excess money left over
Good.
and gives us the ability to do more. So anyway, if you haven't had a chance, I know it's a parking lot, nothing real exciting, but I tell you what, if you go there, you go, hey, that looks really nice. And again,
Well, I'm just thinking, have we ever redone that lot since we took it over from the Air
I
Force?
think we've done it once.
Did we do it once when we first got it, or?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember, I know we did some patches and striping, but I don't know if
Patches and striping.
we, yeah, I don't think we did the whole thing.
we had, I would say, Scott, you know better than I do, I would say 75% of the parking lot didn't have any striping, period.
Right, exactly.
None,
Yeah.
none. So we had parking that was way kind of closer to the street that was just blacktop.
Right.
I mean, somebody would have thought they could have probably put basketball hoops up there, but there was no stripe. So you go out there now, and how many parking spots did we stripe?
Ended up with 56.
56 parking spots.
That's good.
Because we had to factor in also, you still have to factor the cars traveling to and from and around. So at first thought, I thought we'd get a lot more than that, but in reality, you have to factor the ingress and regress into the parking lot, but it looks nice.
And also, how many handicaps do we have?
8.
Wow, that's
Wow.
good.
So,
And they're all painted and signed correctly the way they're supposed to be.
Okay,
We
good.
got signs up there?
Okay, so we got signs. But we got the signs on the painted signs.
All right, so, does anyone have any questions about Resolution 550? If not, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. Next item is schedule meeting dates to conduct interviews for board vacancy. And I know, Ms. Richards, you can only do the 30th, or you can't do the 30th?
That's the only day. I'm in
That's-
Texas the other two
That's
days.
what it was, okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any problems with Wednesday, November 30th? And that is the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
You good?
That should be good.
Okay.
And just so the board's aware that today, I didn't get the paper, but it was supposed to be, first day it was supposed to be running at the Sacramento Bee. We're running it for 3 days.
Okay.
Just again, to make sure that we're trying to get the word out as
That's
much as
cool.
possible.
Are you good? Okay. So, now, when's Sarah's last day on the board?
The December.
Yes, December meeting is actually, would be the
The meeting.
last day of everybody's term.
Right.
Right, so her last day would be the December 8th meeting.
Oh, so she is on the December?
Yeah, even after the election's done, the new candidates don't take office until the following board meeting. So technically,
No, I was gonna say, no, see, the new candidates take the December board meeting.
as we said, didn't I?
No, you said that she's on the December
Oh,
board.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The December meeting would be the first meeting for all the new board members. So
Right.
technically, her last meeting would be
the special meeting.
November.
the special meeting.
The special meeting.
Okay.
Okay, that's, just wanted to clarify.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I didn't know if it had to be like November 30th, and it could be December 1st.
Well, I'm going back to when I was on the school board, what we would do is, that meeting would be the last meeting, and we actually would be, start the meeting, we get up, we walk off, whoever's leading the board,
Okay.
and then the new candidates are there, and then whoever is the judge or whoever comes in swears them in, and they take their seats. Just a different way of doing it.
Wow, you guys are way too fun.
Well, when was the last time we actually had this date?
So we'll go ahead and set then Wednesday, November 30th
Okay.
as the special date.
Thank you.
And what we'll do is, as new candidates come in that meet the residency requirements, we will notify them that that will be the date so they can plan for that.
At 6. Is that what time it was?
Pardon me?
It's at 6 o'clock that day.
Correct. Unless the board wants to do it any different time.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to item C under new business. Center Joint Unified School District ground lease agreement extension. So I did notice in here that we're raising it incrementally, which I'm good with that. I'm the one for actually, for years, it's like $500 a year.
Yes.
And I said, no, no, no.
Well, the real issue was, it wasn't so much the 500, it's when it went up to 2,500 in 2004, it remained at 2,500 through last year.
Right.
So technically, it was 12 years without a rate change.
Okay.
And so, as you see it now, it is going to go up several times over the course of the 5-year agreement, and over that period of time, the district will generate $22,000 in revenue.
And are they aware of this increase?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, anyone like to make a motion to approve the ground lease agreement extension?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passed unanimously.
Just so the board is aware that they were very aware of these terms, and we told them that we weren't going to take it to our board until they assured us that they were comfortable with those terms.
Got it.
So they are.
Well, if not,
I can't say they're real happy. He wants to pay a lot more money, but
Scott can call me. I've known Scott for 20 years.
well, we figure this way: what they're getting. I don't know how many. What do we think, Scott? How many portables on that site?
I think it's 4.
Yeah, they're all sticking
Yeah.
out on that side.
You know, they don't have to buy the land, they don't have to maintain it, really, they don't have to do anything, they're renting the land, and without it, they're in a whole lot of trouble, and we're not trying to gouge them, but it seems very reasonable when you break it down on a per month basis, that's pretty cheap rent.
And if they go in and build a pool with us, we'll cut them a better deal.
There
Okay.
you go.
Next item, payment of the bills. Board members' opportunity to ask questions. Clarity of the bills. And I apologize because that's one thing I didn't want to get with this. Anyone have any questions? If not, can I have a motion to ratify payment of the bills?
So moved.
Second?
Can I have a motion a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed unanimously. We're going to go into recess and then go to closed session, but before we do that, the next meeting of the Board of Directors of North Highlands Recreation and Park District will be Thursday, November 10th, 6:30 p.m. right here in the North Highlands Rec Center. This meeting is adjourned. Recess.